There's not a personal development class after graduation from high school or middle school, or so we deal with people. We talk all the time that just because you may be post-pubescent doesn't necessarily make you a man or a woman.
Right.
So we're dealing with grown adults, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, with the maturity levels of 5-year-olds, toddlers, or adolescents.
With all of you, and I think this particular season we're focused on relationships. So you guys know I talk about business, but there are relationships that are outside of the business that impact the business, and so I wanted to dive into that for season 6 and show off. So you guys are kicking off.
Okay, good stuff. I guess I'll start. Being the man of the family, but we are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships. Coach Fatimah and I have been married now over 27 years. And Coach Nyla and I have been married for 12 years. So we practice polygamy, which means a man having multiple wives, which is under the umbrella of polygamy. And we have 12 children total. I have 10 biological children and 2 bonus children with Coach Nyla. Bonus children, a better, more loving term than stepchild, if that makes sense. Okay, so a little bit about our story is that I met Coach Fatimah when I was 14 years old, a high school sweetheart and stuff like that. And 5 years after I met her, we got married, and I met Coach Nyla in my mid-30s through business, actually, some business stuff on her. So she knew our family and so on, and ended up becoming Muslim and getting married. She'll share that, I guess. But nevertheless, we got married a little over 12 years ago and decided that, since we didn't have a lot of resources, the road was rocky going to and fro and a lot of stuff going on that, after we figured it out, after we reverse engineered some things and put best practices and things in play after investing in ourselves, we had to weigh, do we keep the success of it to ourselves, like most successful polygynous couples or people that practice polygamy, or do we go ahead and benefit other people? And we chose the latter because the Prophet ﷺ let us know that Allah Ta'ala says the people Allah loves the most are the ones who benefit the most people. So that was our drive, and then we ended up forming Outstanding Personal Relationships a few years after that, and growing and really empowering people, especially in this space where it's overlooked, but it's an ancient solution to a modern day problem. And of course, the all wise would not have allowed it and be permissible if there was not a lot of wisdom behind it. And I'm the person who chose to practice polygamy because the wives don't practice it; I practice it with them. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Listen, I'm going to dive into that a little bit later, but we're going to hear from Coach Nyla and Coach Fatimah first. But I'm going to touch on that part right there, that he practices polygamy. Listen,
Period. I'm like, huh? I was trying to lump it all in there together, so that didn't work. Anywho, yes, it's hey, it's late. Anyway, all jokes aside, yes, Coach Nazir is correct in what he was saying about how OPR started. I didn't think it would turn into this, but I was in the arena of coaching women. But then I was thinking, I'm like, I can't be nobody's polygyny coach because I ain't trying to be in polygyny with nobody. So, but a good friend saw more in me than I saw myself, and she said, I think this is your calling. I think this is something that's beneficial, because she actually brought a woman to me at a coffee house, another sister, and the both of them were just sitting there, and she said, I think when I got done, and she was like, I think this is your calling. Like, I know you don't want it to be, but I think it is. So I embraced it after that. I'm like, you know what? I need to do this work, because all three of us have heavily invested in personal development, wellness, and just growth over years and years and years. So to just come together and just focus on helping other people mattered to the three of us, maybe at different times, but indeed to the three of us. And then it just really secured the strength of our family, which comes first and foremost for me. It's always a good one.
Well, yeah, well, a little bit about me. I was born, no, I was just like,
Little tip.
but yeah, Coach Nyla kind of got into it a little bit when he was talking about, how we formed OPR and different things like that, and going into the practice and polygyny aspect, because we'll get a number of questions that are like, well, you chose this, or why did you, marry a married man, and all these other things like that. I was married before, so sometimes when people don't understand, they think that just because you're an incoming wife, that you don't understand what monogamy looks like, So that was kind of the thing for me. Married, divorced, had 2 children. By the time I got married again in polygyny, So, and as Coach Nazir said before, I knew the family. I knew them through business. And I used to coach women myself, and I still do, of course. But then, actually, before then, my first business that I ever got into was in network marketing. So it was pretty cool. And over time, I actually met them. I knew them, met them. So I wasn't thinking about polygyny, wasn't thinking about them as a family or anything like that. I married, divorced, knew that polygyny was an option in Islam. I knew that. I knew that before I even converted to Islam, because people would always tell me when I was studying that, that husbands can have more than one wife. Do you know? And it was so interesting to me. I'm like, y'all don't know anything else about Islam. That's one thing So I'm like, and I said, you know what? Let me find out more about that. Even though I wasn't even looking at the time. This was before I became Muslim, before I converted.
Pardon the interruption. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that you could thrive better in the community that's more supportive? Now, I already know the answer to that. But did you know that Outstanding Personal Relationships actually has a community that is supportive and where we really hang out a lot? It has a number of areas and things like, for example, I deal with the men in the Kings and Men section, where we discuss a number of different men issues, whether it's polygyny related, parenting related, whatever it may be. This is where we communicate and connect.
And as an introvert, I love the idea of an online community. So we have that. And to be able to speak with like-minded people, speak with other wives, wives, whether you're an incoming wife, whether you're a first wife, a wife, period, in general, you only practicing monogamy, whatever the case may be, to be able to be in a community with people who understand what you're going through, understand any type of issues you have, and also being in a place where you have support from others, where it's not all over social media for everybody else to see.
Yes, and it is a safe space. So if you guys want to see us, or if you want to connect with us, come to our community.
Indeed. And like they said, it's private. All right. So you don't have to worry about your stuff being all over the place or all on social media. Try to find the comments and go scroll. We have the subjects. We have all this type of stuff. Just go to outstandingpersonalrelationships.com. Look on the top of the page. Click on community. We look forward to seeing you there. Back to the video.
But I still want to know, if people are telling me something about the religion or the way of life that I'm studying, I want to study more about it. So I want to see if they're true, if they're, what's true, what's not, and everything like that. So I knew that was a thing before I even thought about being a polygyny, but knowing that was an option, and knowing that Coach Nyla was a great leader, great father, husband, all that stuff. When you see people that they're showing you what it is, it's a lot easier when you can see what people are doing. And the family I loved, so just by, what I've experienced and, what I've seen from a distance and, just what I experienced the time that I was able to experience it. So, that's kind of the long and the short of it, kind of how it started, with me. Actually, I do tell people though, make sure you get your wali wakiller involved. That's pretty much what I did. And like I always tell people, he could have said no.
That's what I said.
I'm like,
I said the same thing.
So when people do that and people kind of look into polygyny, and it's like it seems as though that someone comes in and is trying to wreck a family, or they're trying to manipulate some things. You have to understand that the man is the one who makes the decision. And of course, Coach Nyla started that when he was like, it was my decision to practice it. So people got to understand that as well, that it is the man's decisions. But that's kind of how that started.
Mashallah. I mean, y'all's intro, we could just leave it there. We could cut the interview off. So you guys said about food. I'm just going to quickly recap because you guys said a lot. And just from Coach Nazir's intro, is the man decides to practice polygyny. And I'm going to tell you why, for me, that I've never been in a polygynous relationship. But why that is the most important thing that he could have said is because, to me, when I see relationships that don't work, I don't look to the women, whether it's 2 or 3 or 4 that are in it. I look to what is the brother doing? Like what is the husband? Because I feel like you as the man, you set the tone, and I feel like you are the owner of whether there's some risk and all of that. So one of the questions that we have, I know we'll go further into that, but I also wanted to speak to the personal development piece because it sounds like individually there was personal development for each of you, but then I want to talk about also the development as the trio. So as the trio, inshallah. So what does the individual personal development look like for those who are in polygyny? And I want to talk about that specifically because I feel like that needs to happen. And tell me if I'm wrong.
No, absolutely. Here's the challenge. It's not just what does it look like in polygyny. We'll tell you that part. The issue is that we are not taught that in general throughout life. We have to discover it or come across it or have somebody else introduce us to it. There's not a personal development class after graduation from high school or middle school or, so we deal with people who talk all the time that just because you may be post-pubescent doesn't necessarily make you a man or a woman. So we're dealing with grown adults, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old with the maturity levels of 5-year-old toddlers or adolescents. So thankfully, when I was a teenager, I got introduced to a book. I think my first personal development book was The Magic of Thinking Big. And it was dealing with Amway and learning different business models and stuff like that. Because entrepreneurship, you have to grow yourself. But one of the quotes that stuck with me back then, that was attributed to Mark Twain. I don't know if it's true or not. He said it, but it said, never let schooling interfere with your education. And my mentor, 2-time felon, had a heart attack, smoking crack when he was a teenager. I mean, really, really bad story. Today makes multiple 6 figures a month. Okay. So, he told me, your past doesn't equal your future. So he started dropping these little philosophies on me, and I got some cassette tapes, because that's how old he was back in the 90s, some cassette tapes, and started listening to these, started learning philosophies my parents didn't know and didn't teach me. No one around, and I was the one they said by the time you're 21, you'll be locked up or dead. That's the route I was on at the time. We all were born into Christian families. We all accepted Islam. Later on in life, I was in my teens and so on. But so somebody had to drop some seeds on us, right? So with those seeds, you got to kind of learn that it's a planting process. So with personal development, you got to plant good seed. You have to cultivate, and then comes the harvest. So it's over time. So what it looks like now is totally different. I mean, going through a couple books a week, whatnot, now on Audible, it's so easy. But I was told 3 things, and I'm gonna be quiet because we got to hear from the ladies. Everybody's journey is different, but I was told 3 things. You got to change your life more than anything else. My mentor said, 1, it's the books you read. The books you read, because these things drop, these principles and everything else. The books you read, the audios that you listen to, how you're feeling. You like cut off music, turn that stuff on. It's bubble gum for your ears. All right. And the people that you hang around. He said, if you hang around 5 broke people, you're bound to be the 6th. So he said these 3 things. He said, always remember that success leaves clues. So personal development for me, since I came from a background of poverty, my mother is Puerto Rican, my father's Black. So I might speak a little fast as to that Boricua side coming out. But I knew that I didn't want what my parents had. My father was working. He wasn't there most of the time before they got divorced. I saw different things going on. So I'm like, I didn't want that. So I grabbed on to mentors that could relate to me. And they started putting me in different books and told me to read. And then when I, learning about Islam and knowing the first word of Quran that was revealed was Iqra. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, right? From Surah Iqra. So with that, I'm like, I'm in it. I'm dedicated to it. And I had to change me, and that changed everything around me. So that was kind of my story with personal development.
Here are 3 ways outstanding personal relationships can help you.
Make sure you guys are following us on our social medias at Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook, and on IG at Outstanding Relationships.
And make sure you sign up for our email list. And you can actually email us at support@Outstanding Personal Relationships, where you will get updates on our new book, Let's Talk Polygyny Uncensored, as well as exclusive access to our lives and bonuses.
Absolutely. If you're looking for more polygyny education, make sure you visit polygamymasterclass.com. Now, if you're looking for coaching or counseling with either Coach Fatimah or Coach Nyla, you can find them at.
Make sure you visit me at CoachFatimah.com.
And myself at CoachNyla.com.
That's how we can help you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.